Hey, what's going on, Guardians? My name is the Black Link, and today is October 30th, 2018, and we have got a brand new patch update in the world of Destiny 2. That's right, patch update 2.0.5, the one about the quality of life changes that is live in the game right now. And in this video, you know how it usually goes, we're going to be covering the patch notes in their entirety. Probably going to be a little on the boring side, so just going to go ahead and give you the spoiler warning right there. You can tune out if you don't care about patch notes. If you do care about patch notes, maybe put this on as a podcast in the background or something. We're going to go through everything that changed today. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on in. First things first, we got some sandbox changes that are going into effect, or rather that have gone into effect. Starting off with some exotic weapon changes. The Malfeasance exotic hand cannon. It now has increased explosive shadow detonation damage as well as increased damage against Taken and invaders. We learned about this last week. The Malfeasance definitely was a very underwhelming weapon. Haven't had a chance to use it post-patch, but hopefully that increased damage against Taken and invaders makes it a little bit more worthwhile to use in Gambit. Not exactly sure what they could do with that weapon to increase its appeal in normal game modes. Next up, we've got the Wish Ender. They've increased the base damage of the Wish Ender, and they fixed an issue where the Wish Ender's Broadhead perk would not activate properly, which would result in a loss of damage. We explained this last week. The Broadhead perk basically causes entry and exit wound damage for the bow. Your arrows will penetrate targets and hit the things behind them, dealing damage for the entry and then damage for the exit, of course. That functionality has finally been enabled within the game, and I have to say, you definitely notice it. Wish Ender is working pretty well for me. I ran around with it in a couple strikes and some activities a little bit earlier today. You're one-shotting basically all red bar mobs, and the increase in damage is overall really welcomed on that weapon. About time it happened. Finally, the Wish Ender's Queen's Wrath perks are now more readable and more consistent. Next up, we've got some changes coming to Trace Rifles. You now spawn with 50 ammo in the Crucible, and it now benefits from the following armor perks: Auto Rifle Loader, Unflinching Auto Rifle Aim, Auto Rifle Targeting, Precision Weapon Targeting, and Auto Rifle Dexterity. They've also increased sword damage in PvE as well as fusion rifle damage in PvE. Hopefully those two weapon classes are going to be working a little bit better now within the game environment. Next, proximity grenades now have a stat penalty on blast radius, which I can almost virtually guarantee you is directed towards those play of the games. That Crucible grenade launcher in PvP right now. A little bit of a nerf there. They've reduced the amount by which Full Choke narrows projectile spread, so for you shotgun rushers out there, that's going to be knocking on you a little bit if you happen to be using Full Choke. Next up, they've made some changes to the Dynamo and Distribution perks. Now, players will need to activate their class ability in proximity to at least one enemy to gain the benefit. They've increased the energy gain by 20% to compensate slightly for the new requirement, and they fixed an issue where Dynamo's effect was not scaling based on players' class type. The Distribution perk had this, but it was unintentionally left out of Dynamo. If you're a Guardian out there who doesn't really know what Dynamo and Distribution are, they were pretty strong. The Dynamo perk reduces super cooldown when using your class ability, which in some builds could wind up getting you your super back way quicker than I guess Bungie anticipated. The Distribution perk reduced all ability cooldowns when using your class ability. I guess it was just a little bit too powerful for Bungie's taste, so that's seeing a little bit of a nerf here. Next up are some general changes. They've increased the visibility through a Titan's banner shield for all allies. The White Nail perk should no longer occasionally activate before the player achieves the required number of precision hits. That was something that they introduced in the previous patch. They fixed an issue where the Suros regime scope was an opaque yellow. If you've been using Suros, you probably noticed that. They've also fixed an issue where the Polaris Lance's perfect 5th perk was not triggering. Next up, we've got some general changes to combatants, enemies out in the world space. They fixed an issue where Vex Cyclopses weren't attacking players. They happen to be very friendly and would just sit there and watch you massacre all of the other Vex buddies. And they fixed an issue where Hive Knights and Taken Vandals were not using special abilities. Who asked for them to fix that? Man, I was really enjoying Knights not immediately throwing up a shield and like Taken Vandals popping up bubble anytime you even look in their general direction. I really can't think of anybody who wanted those abilities to come back, but they are, and if you've been playing it all today, you've probably noticed it. Next up, we've got some activity changes. First up for Crucible, we're going to be seeing some big changes coming to the Breakthrough competitive game mode. They've decreased attacker respawn time from 7 seconds to 5 seconds after the breaker is deployed, and they've modified the game rules to prevent teams from forcing the round into a stalemate. In the initial fight over the breaker, the team with the most capture progress will win the breaker if time runs out without any breaker progress present. There will still be overtime if time runs out with progress present, and the breaker will go to the team with current progress at the end of 30 seconds. Or to the high water mark if progress reaches 0 with no players on the breaker. While a team is hacking the other team's vault, progress decay accelerates gradually during sudden death for up to 30 seconds, after which the round will end the moment no attackers are present in the capture zone. If the round ends in a draw twice, the match ends in a tie. Neither team will get glory points from this scenario, and win streaks will be maintained. This is actually really important. If you didn't know, the breakthrough game mode was super busted. Under the right circumstances, you could basically stall out a game almost forever. There were definitely a lot of complaints about that when Breakthrough was live over on the Destiny of the Game subreddit, on the Bungie forums, all over the place. So I'm very happy that they found out some solutions to prevent those scenarios, those unwinnable scenarios from happening. Might have to give that game mode a try once it comes back. Alright, next up we've got some changes coming to Gambit. The Sleeper Simulant now gains less ammo from heavy ammo crates on the wall in Gambit, down to 2 from 4. No more full team wipes with 1 heavy pickup. Well, at least with the pickups from the wall. Swords now gain more ammo from heavy ammo crates on the wall in Gambit, up to 12 from 6. They fixed an issue where sometimes one team's invasion portal would not open, and they fixed an issue where sometimes the wrong team would be credited for defeating the Ascendant Primeval. That was definitely a weird glitch where your team kills your Ascendant Primeval and then suddenly the other team gets the victory for it. Glad they fixed it. They've also increased the spawn rate of the Ascendant Primeval Servitor. So you should be seeing that big meatball far more often in Gambit now. The Gambit ship and Sparrow, however, are no longer guaranteed drops upon subsequent Ascendant Primeval kills. So it's probably going to take you a little bit longer to get those, although with the Primeval boss spawning more often now, who knows, your chances are probably better now than they were before. Next up, we've added some quitter protection. They fixed an issue where matchmaking would sometimes result in players being kicked from Gambit matches, thus triggering quitter penalties. Quitter penalties have been re-enabled though, and players will now receive 2 warnings before they're suspended from Gambit. Players will not be immediately suspended on the first match of the day if they quit a match the night before. And finally, they've increased the suspension time to 30 minutes, so don't go quitting out of Gambit games at Assault. Next, we've got some general changes. They fixed an issue where players could play the strike The Corrupted with a 6-player fire team. If you got that glitch going on, it was really fun. I'm actually really sad to see that one go. And then, we've got some big changes coming to the items and economy within Destiny 2. When a player receives an exotic, we now take into account all exotics the player has found and weigh them against exotics they have yet to acquire. This lowers the player's chances of receiving exotics they already own. Exotics that the player does not yet own are individually weighed much higher than duplicate exotics. And when receiving duplicate exotics, the player is more likely to earn armor pieces as these have randomly rolled perks. That's right, these are the big exotic changes that will hopefully help some of you Guardians out there actually start getting Forsaken exotics. So many of you guys have come and told me that you're playing, it's months into, we're at least a month into Forsaken, 2 months in really, and you still haven't gotten any big Forsaken gear outside of maybe quest exotics, which by the way, we're also getting those removed from the loot pool. You can see it here. They've removed quest exotic weapons from the exotic engram loot pool. This includes the Worldline Zero, Ace of Spades, Wish Ender, 1000 Voices, Malfeasance, Lord of Wolves, and the Chaperone. They don't mention the Legend of Acreus there, but I assume that's the same. This is one of the big quality of life changes from this update. Very happy to see that some kind of dupe protection is going in place. There's a lot of Forsaken armor I'm trying to get my hands on, and it really sucks to finally get an exotic drop and then it's like another Darcy. Very happy with that change. Next up, Enhancement Cores. They have renamed Masterwork Cores to Enhancement Cores. Enhancement Cores are now awarded by Scrapper Bounties and 6 of the Spider's weekly bounties. Scrapper Bounties are the bounties that you can get whenever you're dismantling gear. It's kind of like a random drop. Enhancement Cores will also be more visible in the loot feed. You guys know how I feel about Enhancement Cores and their relation to Infusion, so I'm not going to rehash any of that, but I will say I am very happy that there's more sources for them, more regular sources for these in the game right now. Scrapper bounties in particular are very easy to get, very easy to complete, so it's great that you can get enhancement cores just by doing those. Next up, we've got some general changes. Banshee 44 now accepts up to 25 gunsmith materials at a time. This will make turning in those materials and getting level ups with Banshee much faster. They've removed the hold time for the Spider's material exchange interactions. They've increased the stack size of ghost fragments from 10 to 20, again another great change. They've reduced the shader dismantle time from 1 second to 0.25 seconds. And they fixed an issue where the Secret Victories emblem was using the wrong tracker description. It now correctly displays as Ascendant Chest Looted. The requirements for the Queen's Bounty Purification Ritual have been clarified and now list the target as Abyssal Champions instead of Sword-Bearing Knights. These are, of course, the big knights within the Ascendant Realm. The Raid Challenge bounties now rotate in a fixed, round-robin fashion. Nightfall unique rewards will now drop more consistently. The longer players go without a unique drop, the higher their chances of a unique reward on their next Nightfall completion. This is another huge quality of life change. Basically, if you're someone who's trying to get the DFA, you can now continue running Nightfalls until you get one. Your chances are going to increase, and then once you finally get that Nightfall specific drop, your chances will reset. This is fantastic incentive for those Guardians out there who are trying to get specific rewards. I know the next time we get a chance at like the Mindbender's Ambition, I'm definitely going to be utilizing that easy kill method. I'm farming it out until I can get that weapon. Alright, finally, one last change for PC. Text chat autofade can now be toggled on or off in the gameplay settings menu. When turned off, text chat will never automatically fade out, even after a period of inactivity. But alright, Guardians, there we go. That's the patch notes for update 2.0.5. A lot of really good changes within this. Again, the buffs for Malfeasance and Wishender are fantastic. Really happy about the exotic dupe protection as well as the increasing chance at Nightfall rewards. It's about time we got some of these things. But alright, that's enough of this. You've listened to more than enough of me droning on through patch notes. Get out there, play the game. The start of the Murder Mystery for Master Ives has gone live. It won't take you that long to complete, but go out there, grab it, get it done. That is going to be it for this one, Guardians. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you've got any thoughts or opinions on the patch notes and the changes that have been made, be sure to let us know how you feel down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest stuff we're putting out. Alright, we're out for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.